Adventure racing. I picked this one because, as my wife knows, that talking about business cash flow and debt service coverage is, to her, as boring as me talking about adventure racing. So it's something that I'm pretty passionate about. I work for Chase Bank in business banking as a relationship manager, but this is something that I love to do. So how I got started, way back when I was a pack-a-day smoker living in Chicago. It was $240 a month. And I started doing something called adventure racing, Muddy Buddy, which is a picture here, and the ISU Redbird Challenge. So I needed something to take away from my addictive personality, which turned into doing crazy races that evolved into an outdoorsy triathlon. And it's a little bit different. The disciplines include, obviously, canoeing and kayaking, cycling, which I'll get to a little bit more in a second. Obviously, I'm a fan of orienteering, transition areas going between the disciplines, and then also sometimes fixed ropes, like rappelling, sometimes ascending, other things like that. The difference between a true triathlon and this is there's really no set course, and I'll get into a little bit more about that in some of the other slides. So, we keep people away from heavy traffic. There's two different options for orienteering. Rogaine, you get them in any order, the checkpoints, or there you have to get them in a certain order, otherwise a penalty. So the different types of bikes, mountain biking versus a road bike, you need to be able to go over stuff that's in the woods, because sometimes the trails are very, very tight. Other times you're on the county road. This is an example of what happens when you don't have any more spare tires after changing it twice. That's literally a mile to the finish line, and that was a heavy bike, so there are disadvantages. I've done races that are from 57 minutes all the way to, we worked and we developed one that was 72 hours long. And here I'm actually sleeping, waiting for people to get off the Black River Falls, Black Falls River, whatever it is. And they came in way later than I thought, so I had no choice but to sleep. This is a map that I created, orienteering. I call it the Great Equalizer. This is a base map, and then I went out and I actually charted out the different trails, and you can see on there is their different checkpoint numbers. So this is what someone is orienteering to try to get to, all those different little checkpoints in there. There's different strategies. Sometimes you use the trail to go around thick brush, but sometimes you just go straight through. Orienteering, what it does is it really levels out the group. I started off being a very slow orienteer because I didn't want to get lost, but now I'm to the point where I can actually run and read a map at the same time, which is, it's really hard to do, but you get people of different strengths, different disciplines, they can pass each other. That's what a checkpoint looks like, and this is me doing orienteering in Wilmette, Illinois. So yes, I do it year-round. It adds a whole different character when you're actually doing it in snow, if it's just snowed, if it's a little bit more trodden or the trails are packed down. So I love orienteering, so here's a good picture of that. And you can see my compass is hanging from my belt. Nutrition. Yes, you need to have stuff that's good for you to keep your body going, but also things like bacon, very lightweight, it gives a lot of calories. A cheeseburger does huge amounts for your morale at 3 in the morning. Beef jerky, when I'm in the front of the canoe, people don't like it when I have beef jerky. Pickle juice actually unlocks your cramps in about 2 minutes, just FYI. So this is the start of a 24-hour race. We had a 2-mile run, and you can see all the different gear that I have on there. I have a throw bag, a life jacket, a headlamp. Those long pants protect against stinging nettles, poison ivy, or at least they try to. But yeah, lots of money spent on gear. You don't have to, though. You don't have to. I mean, it's evolved. This is really neat, a radio orienteering section out in Illinois. I had my compass and a walkie-talkie, and then Rod, my partner, had the map and a walkie-talkie. So he and I had to talk about what I was seeing, and where he was the only one that knew where the checkpoints were. So we really had to trust each other. Coolest experience ever. Love that. This was at about 2 in the morning on the Sweaty Otter. We were transitioning to the canoes going out into the Sheboygan Marsh, and that was, I think I saw 7 shooting stars that night. And if you know anything about the Sheboygan Marsh, it's almost like channelways. So you really had to pay attention to your satellite map to say, okay, here's a break in the water. This is where I need to transition. We do a spring training camp up at Devil's Lake, or at least we did. We taught people how to do rappelling. We were always very safe. How to use a compass in the middle of the night when you are tired. I taught a clinic on how to break down your mountain bike if you break a chain or if you blow a flat tire, anything like that. So this is me going off one of the bluffs. This is Nasboat, which is pretty cool. It's a smaller lake, and I basically had to go around 5 times, kind of like NASCAR if you didn't catch that. If anybody knows anything about paddling, our form is horrible, but at some point you just need to get yourself going again. So it was very cold that day, but you warm up pretty fast. South Kettle Moraine is a really beautiful area. This is us at the end of a 24-hour race. Rod, Heather, Nick, myself. Actually, before we went into the last section, I did put a little bit of stinging nettles on my face accidentally. It's not always typical. I don't mean to scare anyone and make it sound like it's much worse, but we were very tired and very happy to be done, so that was good. Frozen Otter, this is another extreme, very extreme race. It's on the Ice Age Trail. It's either 64 miles or 32 miles. The year that we won it, our speed was 2.71 miles per hour, and it's a lot of ups and downs like this. And it was negative something when we started, and it got up to about 19 degrees that day. So this is a very beginner race. This was kind of a potluck of how to take care of your shoes, how to eat right, the different gears that you want. And one of the checkpoints was attached to a guy in a kayak, so you had to go out there. So for the beginner races are more fun like that. Obviously, it is what you make out of it. You can take your time, and there's for a lot of us, it's just getting out there and being fun. I direct this race. It's called the Spoka, and it's in kind of conjunction with the Polka on the Riverway festival up in Sauk City. There's a beginner race. It's, there's not a lot of pressure. You obviously make, what you put into it. But yeah, canoeing, orienteering, mystery events, always very fun, like the guy in the kayak. And I love being outside, so call me anytime. Obviously, I'm a very enthusiastic guy. I got the thumbs up there. But yeah, cell phone, email. I love to introduce people to the sport, and I don't always do 24-hour races. So there are beginner level ones. So I think that's going to be about it. So thank you very much, guys.